While we all know that the issues and pressures facing education right now are serious, today I talked to Dr. Adam Phyall of Newton County Schools in Georgia. As he says, we need to keep levity and self-care near the center of our work and daily routines for the sake of ourselves, our teachers, our students, and our families.
Welcome to Focus on K-12, EdTech and the Education Experience. I'm your host, Doug Konopelko, Education Strategist at CDWG. So let's dive in as we focus on K-12.
Of course, I'm Adam Phyall, Director of Technology and Media Services for the Newton County School System, also known as the Hollywood of the South. I always do that plug that we always have a lot of filming going down on our square. We have one of those nice southern squares where people love to film movies and TV shows down here. So we really try to also get our students involved in the community and all these projects that are going on. This district has about 20,000 students. In my position, I get to oversee instructional technology, information learning systems, and also library media services. So I get my hands in some of everything in the school system.
Great. So as someone who's been leading and continues to lead the technology work at a school district through the current environment, what have been some of your biggest takeaways?
Nothing can prepare you for this. They always say each day is something different, but one thing that this year has definitely brought is a new set of challenges. And so it's important, and in this position or any leadership position, you have to prioritize what you're doing because every issue can't be an important issue. The world can't be on fire every time somebody emails you, calls you, or walks in your door. And, I kind of tell my teams to step back and think about it. Everything can't be that serious. I mean, you have to still have fun, you still have to laugh, and you have to stay calm. I mean, we have systems that we put in place. If we follow our protocols, follow our procedures, everything is going to work out. I mean, the sun will rise another day. We will learn from mistakes that we make today and put those steps in place tomorrow. So definitely take it. You're not going to get everything right the first time. I mean, we're all learning about this. This is the first pandemic I've been through. Unless you were around in 1918, if that's the case, it's time for you to retire. But other than that, I mean, we're all figuring this out at the same time. So definitely my biggest takeaway during all this is just, prioritize and take your time and trust your process that you have.
Sure. Yeah, I just narrowly missed that last pandemic as well. So you mentioned, staying calm, making sure you have priorities and processes in place. I think one thing that when we think about staying calm through the current environment that we think about is self-care, right? So what are you doing, not just for yourself, but also what are you doing with your staff to help promote people making sure they take care of themselves so that they can take care of the students?
I mean, one of the things that I'm lucky to have in my team, I have a lot of consistency with my department. And I like to think it's an environment that we've created. Nobody ever wants to really leave here because we always say we have fun, but we get the job done. I try to have an open door policy with my team members. I'm like, hey, when they're coming by to pick up some parts or whatever, hey, stop in. Let's do a mental health check. And I think that's very important that you just talk to your team. Hey, what's going on? How's everything going with life? Because it's bigger than just the pandemic and our social issues that we're having. It's, hey, people still have births of children. They still have deaths in their family. All these regular life things are still happening. So even outside of the pandemic, it's very important to have that connection with your team. And so they feel comfortable talking to you about that stuff and still have fun. I mean, we'll have Zoom meetings, we'll have giveaways in our Zoom meetings. I'll just go out and buy some Chick-fil-A gift cards and, just do random stuff. I mean, we have our department meetings, we have random DJs. So various people in my department, they'll host a meeting and they'll DJ and we'll have a little dance party in our meeting. So the things we used to kind of do face-to-face that we're doing virtually, still try to bring that fun and that flair because, like I said earlier, everything can't be serious. Everything can't be the end of the world. You still have to have fun because you spend more time at work and a lot of times than you do with your families. So you have to definitely enjoy what you do and who you're doing it with.
Yeah, and I know that you're known for some of that fun and that flair because I distinctly remember that Georgia ETC conference where you had the whole room doing the wobble to get started. So I love hearing about those examples, especially because I think that's one of the things that people struggle with most right now is taking every single aspect of every issue really seriously to their own detriment, right? So that it ends up they can't perform their best because they're not at their best.
And Doug, if I can add on that, is one thing that really picked up for me during the pandemic was it gave me, I know personally, a chance to get out of my normal routine. I mean, I found myself with my wife, we'd get up every day, get the kids ready, take them to school, us go to work, come home, get dinner, how you doing, go to bed. I mean, that was like the routine every single day. This pandemic has really given us a chance to get out of that routine and stop and smell the roses. So, take a walk with our family, to, do some creative projects, start a podcast, all these fun things that are out there that you didn't have time to do because the work got in the way. It definitely gave you a chance to realize there's more to life than work. Stop back, do some things for mental checks, for your own personal well-being.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the great thing about that is that reconnecting with the family piece, I think, is something that a lot of people have talked about recently, right? And
Mhm.
said that this has made such a big difference because they feel so much more connected. Sometimes great, and sometimes, special. Like we said, when someone starts banging on the wall in the middle of
Yes.
the day, and you're thinking, "Whew, is this mic on?" Because that's getting picked up. But so part of what you talked about in addition to the self-care was you said something about putting things in place ahead of time, right? About the processes that were there. So what are some of the things that you did in Newton that you felt like really served you well once we hit this pandemic, right? Because we hadn't been through a pandemic before. You didn't know you were preparing for one, but you found yourself prepared in some ways. So talk a little bit about that.
I think one of the things that we really looked at was making sure we had remote systems in place. We were kind of already going down that path. Um, People call it mobile learning, one to one, whatever the concept you want to look at. It's more than just a device. I tell people one to one, that's a math problem. How many kids do you have? How many devices you need? Boom, there you go, done. But it's the whole way of changing your learning, your thinking, and teaching. We focused on really getting our LMS up and running. That was something that I've worked on for the past 4 years in the district, getting it beyond just adding content there and making it digital worksheets, but really focusing on utilizing our LMS. And there was a little pushback here and there. And it was just one of those things that made my day when I got a teacher email me. Thank God, Adam, that I did this because I was frustrated. I would have been frustrated if I didn't start 2 years ago. If someone told me, hey, use Canvas tomorrow, I would have freaked out. But I've been doing it. The teacher's like, I was doing it for a couple of years, so it's okay now. And we also moved forward with getting a single sign-on platform. We started off with Clever, moved to ClassLink, and so that process was something that made it easy for everyone to get access to those resources. So it was that one single landing page, getting to your content, getting to your resources, and it made it easy because we were talking the same language, K-12. And that's something that, I hope anybody who's listening gets from me on this. You have to, as in the technology area, you have to have your hands on all of the things, and it has to be one simple site, one location where everybody can access their content, their resources. You can't have four different LMS platforms. You can't have different sign-in platforms because it's frustrating to the families, the students, teachers. I mean, it's crazy. So you have to have that one sole source, one resource that everyone can utilize, and you can support those. But you can't support everything. So we went through the process of narrowing down the various resources and making it very simple. Sometimes simple gets you further than complicated. And then with those tools, it makes it easier to also find your kids. We know right now, normally kids get on the school bus and come in the building. We see them every day. We know if Johnny's not here because he's sick simply. Well, now having these standard platforms is very easy to pull some kind of usage report, sign-in report, and say, hey, these kids haven't signed into the platform. So now, teacher Adam, call these 3 kids and see what's going on. So it makes it easier to really connect with our kids, having a single source and someone, it may be at a teacher level, it may be at an academic coach level or principal level, able to pull those user reports and have those deeper conversations about what's going on with the kids. It's the connectivity issue. All these things that we can now ask questions about and get a little more information and hopefully solve those problems.
Yeah, and so many of them come with great opportunities as well for growth moving forward. So, what are some of the challenges you feel like you're still facing now that we are, what is it, 9 months in, 8 months into this, the new normal, to set off the buzzword alert?
Yeah, there you go. Like new normal, we're all in this together. It's really, when you look at the challenges that we've been facing, of course, it is the elephant in the room is connectivity. And I hope that people realize it's bigger than a K-12 issue. This is an issue that impacts everybody from the young, the old, rich, poor. We have to have better connectivity in our country. It's my hope and dream that we can at least have 1 gig pipe to every household, and then the user can pay for whatever they want to actually come into their house. But it's a shame that we have communities where there's no cellular towers in their area and they can't even use a mobile hotspot. So I think that's been a challenge that we face, even with providing Khajiits or T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T. I mean, we run the gambit of different ways to get our parents connected, and there's still families that are out there. And also just the lack of hardware. When you look at trying to get devices, we were talking previously about getting some more Chromebooks into our system with your company, and it's just very hard to get those. But it really helps when you have good partners in this process, because you can't do it alone. You have to reach out to your vendors, to your partners, and have those conversations. And one thing that I love is everyone being honest right now with everything. It is a challenge not having what you need, but then you have honesty with your partners and like, hey, we don't have this in, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this in. When I get it, I'll let you know. Or being able to say, hey, this is what I'm seeing another district is doing, and this may help you meet that challenge. So, having those open conversations, and we know everybody's trying to sell something and make a dollar, because we all have to have jobs and we have our ends to meet, but also knowing that it's not all about the mighty dollar. It's about solving the problems that everybody is facing. And that's one good thing about building those relationships.
We've seen so many different challenges around connectivity that have finally been tackled,
Mhm.
right, due to the pandemic. And what I think is really interesting is that we've also seen so many challenges that I think people didn't realize were out there for
Right.
connectivity, where, working with a school district that said, listen, we don't have, we don't get broadband out to this area. There are no cell towers, and the tree cover is so thick that we can't use satellite signals. What can we do?
Mhm.
And you start to think about every step along the way, the number of challenges that we face for that one service that impacts almost everything now,
Yep.
right? Not just education, but that's why, to your point, we have to build these connections with our state, with our local government, to be able to provide services to the students, but also to the families that need them for more than just education.
Yep. Because this is the one time that we all are facing the same problem, the same issue. And one thing I love about our country is we can all get behind a cause. We saw it happen when we had 9/11. Everyone got behind our country, put their differences aside, moving forward. I think this pandemic has given us that opportunity to realize every school system had the same issue. Every person is facing this same issue of the pandemic, and how do we survive and how do we get through it. So it definitely made districts, companies put their heads together and figure out some better ways to do things and move it forward. So, we always want to look at the silver linings of a problem. Going back to me trying to stay positive and everything is, you got to look at what has been able to come from this. And so hopefully we can continue to move forward and reinvent and rethink ways to teach and learn, and just the way our world is going to look moving forward. So I definitely am happy about those opportunities that have presented themselves with this crisis that we've faced.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for being on. Really a pleasure to have you. Love getting the insights from you with the boots on the ground there, and look forward to working together some more in the future.
All right, thanks for having me, and keep doing what you're doing out there.
Thanks for joining us today on Focus on K-12 EdTech and the Education Experience. If you enjoyed today's show, please feel free to like, subscribe, and click the little bell so that you get notified whenever we post a new episode. If you have an idea for a future guest, or just want to talk about the show, either post something in the comments below or reach out to me on Twitter at @dconopelco. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time as we focus on K-12.